Welcome. Today, I wanted to walk you through some of our features centering around the client portal. We hear over and over that this is one of the most powerful and useful parts of the product. And it's really not surprising why. On the one hand, this is really helpful for you as a business owner because it means that you have to spend less time answering questions that are really pretty easy to answer, so you can focus on other things. At the same time, your clients have a much better experience because they can get answers to their questions or look at project resources anytime, anywhere, without you really having to do a ton of work. So let's walk through how this works and sort of why this would be so powerful. And I'll start with the homeowner view, which you can see right here in the front. And then later, I'll hop back into the Eano Pro interface that you would be using as a general contractor and show you how a few of the different parts of the system intersect with what the homeowner or the client is seeing in this client portal. So first, let's just go for a quick tour of the client portal. So you'll start, or rather, your clients will start on this home page here. And on the home page, we try to summarize the key actionable information that your clients are going to probably care about, and that we've heard from doing customer and interviews with clients of our customers, that they find really valuable. So we like to think of this as being divided into three main sections. So here at the top, we have sort of the overall arc of the project, right? So you can see that in this case, for the sample project that I'm using to make this video, we've sent the client a proposal for the work and they liked it, so they've signed the contract, but we're not quite at the point of starting construction, so that's still grayed out. And we're definitely not done with the project, so that's also grayed out. But by looking at this top section, your client, without ever needing to speak to you or call you up on the phone, can get a quick glance of what's going on. And if you, for example, set up the projected completion date, which I'll show you in a minute, they can even see when the project is going to be completed based on your best estimate, which we know is one of the most common questions that clients ask to people like you, our customers. The second part of the homepage is obviously really important for both parties. This is where we're going to put anything that your client needs to do in order to make sure that the project keeps moving forward. So in this case, because in the sample project, my fictional client here has signed the project, the next step that we would need to take in order for the project to move forward is indeed something on the client end. And so your client in this dashboard will see that they need to make a payment for this initial retainer so that we can get everything underway. So the second section of the homepage summarizes what your client needs to do if there is anything. They don't need to do anything. This is blank in order to keep the project moving. Third, we have a section that we like to call Last Now Next. And this is to help make sure that your clients understand what is going on more specifically with the project. So here in the last section, we'll summarize the last thing that you completed. We'll include when you started working on it, when you finished working on it, not hypothetical dates, but actual dates. We'll include any updates in text that are relevant. Of course, very important. If they need to make a payment, we'll include a link so they can make a payment for the work that you've completed right here in the client portal without you having to go needle them and nag them. Um, and then if they want to get more details on what exactly happened, this is obviously not the best example because it's just the retainer fee. Um, but if they wanted to see photos and progress and what's going on and what happened with that, they can always click on this View All Updates button and get a better sense of the detail of what happened in the last thing that you completed. Here in the Now section, we'll highlight and pull out the thing that you are working on right now, the thing that is the next step in the project that's happening when they load this page. So they can get a sense of, well, this is what's going on right now. And then last here in the next section, we'll give them just a little bit of visibility into what's going to happen next. And if your client wants to see all the different steps, they can click on this View All Milestones button over here, and then they'll see an entire list of all the stages of the project with all of the documentation, the dates, the cost, which I'll show you in a second. So we think that this homepage, just by itself, can answer and head off a lot of the questions that your clients are going to be interested in. Like, what do I need to do to make sure the project keeps going forward? Where are we with this arc here up at the top on the project overall? And then what just happened? What's happening right now? And what's coming up next in this third section? Now let's move on to some of the other sections. So the first one I'll highlight here is the calendar view. On the calendar, when you set up milestones, which again, I'll switch over in a second and show you what this looks like as the contractor. On this calendar page, your clients can see two different things. First of all, they can see when everything is happening on a nice, neat calendar view so that they can see, oh, well, maybe I don't want to be at home from this date to this date because you're doing the demolition, the cleaning, and the hauling, and that's going to be a big mess, right? But it's all laid out just like they might have on their refrigerator, a calendar of their family's activities. So make it really easy to answer again the question of what is happening on the project and when is it happening. In addition, we take that same idea of now, next, and put it over here so that there's no ambiguity of kind of where you are on this project schedule, which we think also really is useful both for you and for your clients. Here in the progress section, we'll share any daily logs that you've decided to share with your client. So you could share nothing here if you don't want to share anything. You can share just some things, or you can share anything. And I'll show you what that looks like for you as the general contractor, again, in just a second. But any updates that you want to share, go right here. And this dovetails in with all of the ways that we can centralize and grab information about the project, whether that's a daily log that you, as maybe the business owner or a project manager, decide to upload directly through the web app. You can do it through our mobile application on your iPhone or Android device, or indeed, you could have your subcontractors directly upload information and updates about what's going on site through WhatsApp so they don't have to install any software. And if you decide to share it, it shows right here in the client view without you having to do anything more than just click a box that that's an update you think that your client is going to want to see. And it'll show up right here in their client portal that they have really easy access to. So another really effective way to answer questions and provide documentation to your clients, which we think can be really powerful. And it's great for them because they have access to this anytime they want. And it's great for you because you don't have to do this in a completely separate process and maybe forget sometimes. So the homepage, the calendar view where they can see what's going on, progress where they can see specific details from the daily logs that you and your team post. Over here in the milestones tab, they can see in detail all the different steps that are going to happen on the project, including dates like the overall projected start date and completion date. And they can see when these different activities are going to happen, how much they're paying for that, how much of the budget it is. If there are updates associated with that, they can see details by clicking on these update buttons. And of course, up here in the top right, they can see all the cost that is potentially associated with this project. And then over here, they can see how much of that expense that they've paid, which is a great way for them to understand. So, how much and how far along are we into this project, in addition to seeing how many of the milestones you've completed? If it's useful, this is also a place where your clients can upload files centrally to this project so that everybody is on the same page and has access to them. So, whether that's an appliance manual for something that they were supposed to buy, or a photo of something that they want you to replicate because they like the color, we make that really, really easy and they can see everything going on with the project in detail on this milestones page. There's a final quote tab where your client can see the quote and just make sure that you can reference it so that you aren't arguing and sort of confused about what the reference is. This is what you will have sent out to them through the application earlier in the process. And we just think it's important to keep it here so that everybody can be on the same page. And then last but not least, you know, we are aware that however great our client portal is, you're never going to be able to answer every possible situation and every possible question that your client is going to have. And so that's why we give them a chat channel where you can centralize all the communication, which again shows up right in the general contractor view over the interface that you would use. So that's a quick tour of what your client, the homeowner, would see. I hope that illustrates just how useful this could be because your client has access to all the really key project information in one quick, easy location, and it automatically updates as you manage the project in your side of the application, which we think keeps them in the loop and saves you a whole bunch of time not having to do that manually or answer their questions on the phone. So, really powerful for both sides. We think this is a win-win for everybody. But let me show you how this dovetails back into the contractor view that you, as the project manager or the business owner, the person doing the construction, in other words, would see it. So let's just start with how all these dates and these milestones get communicated into the system. So unsurprisingly, those all show up here when you click on the Payment Milestones tab. So because this project has started, I only have a limited number of things that I can edit, but you can see that all the exact same milestones that your clients see are just the milestones that you've set up in the project over here. We make it incredibly easy. We'll show you the exact same dollar amounts, the exact same dates, and whether they're payable, and then how much of that has been paid, as your clients don't just receive the request for payment, but actually make those payments um, automatically if you use our payments flow, or you can mark them manually um, to indicate that they've been paid, so you can keep track of it here. But you can also open this edit milestones button, and as things inevitably change in the project, you can always come in here and edit projected start and completion dates. As maybe you make up some time and need to move something forward so you can get the project done faster, or maybe you run into a problem and you have to push it back. All you have to do to communicate that to your client, as well as inform your internal team, is just come in here to the milestones area and update these dates. And the minute that you do that, it flows through to everybody, whether that's on the homeowner side or on your internal team side. So, really powerful integration that makes it super easy to keep everybody on the same page and just continue to make it easy to answer that key question that we hear all the time that your clients have, which is, when is this happening? When is this going to be done? Just make that incredibly easy. In addition, all of that will show up here on the schedule view that you can see. So just as your client can see all of the stuff on a schedule, you can see it on a schedule. And it's the exact same thing. So everybody is looking at the same information. All files is where the files that your clients upload through the client portal are going to show up. So again, making it really easy for everybody to stay on the same page. And here's the chat, where you can see the chat that I mentioned a few minutes ago from the other side uh, is going to show up. And then last but not least, here's the daily log interface. So if you'll remember, and in fact, why don't we just pop over there now? We click on progress. Here are the updates that would be shared in this client portal with your client. And here's what it looks like on your end as the person doing the construction. And you'll note that we've put a little mark here to indicate that this particular update has been shared with the client. So it's visible in the client view. And all you have to do is come in and edit it. And there's a simple toggle box where you can indicate whether or not you want that to be shared with your client or not. And of course, this is completely configurable as daily logs flow in from either you or other members of your team or through our WhatsApp integration. You can just pop in here and decide, yep, that one is something that I want to share with the client. And so tick that box and it will immediately show up the next time your client logs into the client portal. So that's just a quick overview of the surface of how powerful this client portal can be for making both your process easier and more efficient internally, but also giving your customer a better experience by giving them the information that, at least when we talk to people, everybody seems to want. Um, we hope you've enjoyed this. We hope this has been helpful, and we hope to talk to you again soon.